Okay, welcome back. This is the continuation of the 3.5 notes. Let's take a look at number 12. Number 12, the limit as theta approaches 0 of cosine squared theta minus 1 all over theta. Guys, if I plug in 0 in for theta, this is going to be indeterminate, okay? And we'll be dividing by 0 and it doesn't work. What I want to do is I want to turn it into something kind of like this, because I see that I've got cosine. Now, we need to manipulate this. We need to rewrite cosine squared of theta. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this, because it looks like I have cosine squared theta minus 1. Now, 1, we can look at that as like 1 squared, okay? So this is like the difference of squares. So I can factor this. And I'm going to write the limit as theta approaches 0 of cosine of theta plus 1 times cosine of theta minus 1, okay? And this is all over theta. Now, what you see here, or what I see, is that I've got cosine of theta minus 1, and then there's a theta down here. Now, let's take a look. I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to split this up. So I've got the limit as theta approaches 0 of cosine of theta plus 1 over 1 times cosine of theta minus 1 over theta. Now, all I did was take one fraction and split it into the product of two fractions. Okay, I can do that. I can rewrite this because now this is of the form of this. And so if I know that if this limit goes to 0, then the whole thing goes to 0, okay? And that's pretty simple. So if you can manipulate this and get it to something that looks like this, then you can just go ahead and evaluate, okay? All right, let's take a look at number 14. Okay, now at this one's a little tricky. And again, guys, it doesn't look like sine of x over x. It kind of looks like cosine of x minus 1 over x, okay? But we've got secant here, all right? But secant is very, very similar to cosine, okay? So let's take a look. So the limit as theta approaches 0, let's rewrite this as 1 over cosine of theta minus 1 over 1. Okay, so what I've done is I'm just creating this. I'm creating a fraction here, okay? A fraction here and a fraction here, all over theta, okay? And so once I've got this, now I'm going, okay, let's make one fraction out of this, all right? Let's get a common denominator here. I'm going to multiply this by cosine of theta over the cosine of theta, okay? And as a result, this is what I get. I get the limit as theta approaches 0 of 1 over cosine of theta minus cosine theta over cosine theta. Cosine theta, and this is all over theta. Okay, so now I'm going to write this as one fraction. I have a common denominator, and so now I've got the limit as theta approaches 0 of 1 minus cosine of theta all over cosine of theta, and then this is all being divided by theta. Okay, so now, remember, if I've got a fraction divided by something else, you know, I can if I've got a fraction, and if we're doing division with fractions, then I can multiply by its reciprocal. And so I'm going to get the limit as theta approaches 0 of 1 minus cosine of theta over cosine of theta times 1 over theta, okay? And so now, let me rewrite this, because again, guys, if I'm multiplying things, I can reorder them and I can kind of do whatever I want. But let me take the limit as theta approaches 0 of 1 minus cosine of theta over theta times 1 over cosine theta. Okay, now what I'm trying to do, guys, I'm trying to get cosine of theta minus 1 over theta. Okay, it follows this, but I've got 1 minus cosine theta. So what I need to do is I need to factor out a negative here. Okay, and if I take the limit as theta approaches 0, then I can factor out a negative, negative 1, and I'm left with cosine of theta minus 1 over theta times 1 over cosine of theta. Okay, so now the thing that you got to realize here is, guys, that this I've manipulated this using legal math moves, and this part goes to 0. So if this part goes to 0, I'm going to multiply everything else by 0, and so I just end up getting 0, folks. So it's kind of nice, all right? That's what I'm looking for, but you got to manipulate this stuff. And you know, guys, this takes a lot of practice, all right? So I hope you enjoyed these videos. Please get started on the 3.5 homework, and we will see you soon.